All right, the day has come to turn in our animation assignment. So make sure that the first requirement, that rough storyboard sketch, is submitted as soon as you can into assignment 3 in Canvas. So how do I do this? I go to the course. I can shortcut it, even though it's Unit 7. I don't have to go through unit modules. I can go right to assignments underneath unit modules and go right to assignment 3 and where we turn it in. Right. And within this, on the assignments page, there is a mentorship presentation given by past digital honors that give all the steps for how to use Photopea to output an animation along with EasyGIF.com Maker. Make sure this is still the one that works, because there's a few different ones. Yes. So it uses this. There are a lot of freeware sites for just outputting images as GIFs, which is something we're going to do in Photoshop since Photopea isn't working. But it shows you how you can make an animatic out of your storyboard, right? And how that can translate into doing full animation. Just using all, this was a digital honor student, so this is one of their original characters, but yeah. Oh, cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I do know Terry Bogart's work. So this is a nice place to look when Photopea is working again for you and you want to play with these animation things. This will take you through all the steps. It's not very different from what we're using in Photoshop. The only way it's different is you save out your frames as JPEGs and then bring them into another program to set the timing. We're going to be doing it all within Photoshop. But back to where we post it. So post assignment 3. And I scroll down. And this is where I posted my rough storyboard sketch. So make sure you at least have that. The next thing we need to post is our finished animation. So to do that, I'm going to refer to my storyboard sketch, keep it open in the corner, just in preview. And then I need to open up both my stage and my assets, both of these Photoshop files. So I select them both by drawing kind of a box through them, right? Then right click and say open with Adobe Photoshop. All right, so where we left off in our YouTube tutorials was animating the transformation climax. That transformation climax for my storyboard is right in the middle, right? So now I have to show the consequences. So if I look at my stage, I can see that my final frame for the stage was this last big lightning bolt, but I was setting up my assets for the next frame, right? Where it leaves behind kind of a charcoal husk. And that is what you see here. So I'm playing with dissolve and different effects with the gradient overlay. You can see it here. And I want to find, there we go, this. And I'm going to duplicate. And then I'm going to, let's see, it's on dissolve. Let me see, if I rasterize it, the layer style, that will make it normal. Then I can maybe burn it a little bit more. There we go. So I'm going to kind of burn it to look a little bit more like the skull. Burn it here. There are going to be different, alterations each of you make for yours. And then I really want to burn it on the outside edges. So this looks like a lot of ash. Now I'm not burning the skull asset, I'm actually just burning this kind of charcoal-y texture that I put over the top of everything. And then let's see, where are the eyebrows? Not there. Here. So I'm going to change the eyebrows a little bit too. So I'm going to duplicate those. They're my closed eyes. And then it might be fun just to wiggle these a little bit, right? So edit, puppet warp. Just pivot them on the sides. And then just move them a little bit. And maybe start fading them out. So take their opacity down. Okay, Command 0 will put everything kind of full screen. So I want to go from this to this. And then some of that energy that I had here, maybe I want to not have it just go away immediately. Maybe I want to just take that opacity down a little and let it, no, not dissolve, let's see. Let it just dissipate. So that brightness, which lasted for a couple frames, right, as the lightning kind of hit, now I'm going to have it linger a tiny bit for this frame. So, how do I now put this into my stage? Well, I hold down Option. I'm on the topmost visible layer. I say Layer, Merge Visible. Command A to select it all. Command C to copy it all. Click on my stage. Command V to paste it in. And it will paste in on top of the layer that I have selected. So I want to select on the top layer of my stage and then paste it so it's the next one in order. Right. Okay, now I've gotten through my first 2 rows of my storyboard. So it's a good time to run an animation test. So save my work, go back to my assets, deselect and delete that merged layer. Save it. Okay, so now I'm going to run an animation test. I do that by going to Window, Timeline. I've already chosen it as a frame-by-frame animation, so I get this. And then I'm going to use the window options for the timeline to make frames from the layers. Hold down Shift, click on the last one, because the first one is already selected. That selects all of them. Then I select the timing of any of them, and it will change the timing for all of them, and I'm going to do 0.3 seconds. And then I'm just going to play it through. Yeah, so that big lightning strike, it works. And now I just need to finish it up. Now remember, I had made a screen grab of particular timing. My timing script, which had like 0.4, 0.9, 1 second, 6. So right now, all of these are just at 0.3. Because it's just my animation test, I'm not going to reset all of that timing. But when I finish my animation and I'm done with all my frames, then I'll customize that timing. This is just to see if that kind of consequence on the lightning works. And I think it does, except for one aspect. So now, in order to keep working on it, I select all my frames again, and I have to clear them from the timeline. So I drag them to the trash. And then I'm going to hide the timeline just so I don't get confused by it. All right. Command 0 again. So the one thing I think hurts it are the big white eyeballs in the skull, right? At this point, they don't make sense. They're a little awkward looking, even though I'll use them later. So that means I need to change that asset. And I'm going to rebuild this frame. So here is that skull. Now I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm going to build it where I just fill in these sockets. And it's just a GIF, so I don't need to be too super accurate about it. But I'm basically going to fill them in with a dark, dark gray. So what do I say? I say edit, fill. Let's first just do a middle gray. That helps. And now I can go to image adjustment levels because they're still selected. And I can just darken it until it's where I want. Do you agree that that kind of helps? A little less distracting? All right. So that's why we run animation tests. It helps us see how believable things are and how they work. So now I have to delete this frame. And now I have to merge this one again. Go to the topmost visible layer, option, layer, merge visible. And then Command A to select it all, Command C to copy it all. Click on the stage, Command V, paste it in. So now I've gotten through to this point. Now this has to start to crumble away. So this might mean I have to think about my assets in a different way. So I deselect and delete that merge layer. And now all the ones that are turned on that aren't the background, that make up this shape, I am going to select by holding down, let's say all the ones except for that magenta one, which are the eyebrows. I'm going to hold Command, and I'm going to select them individually. It's quite a few layers. That's all of these as well. All right. Now, I'm going to duplicate all those that I've selected. So Command J puts them all on top. And then I am going to say layer, merge all of them. Remember, I duplicated it first. Then I can turn off all the ones underneath my merged. But I'm going to duplicate the eyebrows and move them up above, just in case I want to use them. Okay. Turn that off, turn that off. Maybe they'll be useful later. Turn this off, turn this off, turn this off. This is, again, kind of cleaning your assets. So by having this all in one place, now I can animate with it and decide how it's going to crumble away to reveal the full skeleton underneath. So it's going to reveal this guy, right? As it crumbles away. So now I have to think in stages. It's like when I started. How do I need to break this asset up into the different things I want to animate? And if it's ash falling, I'm not going to have it fall like dust. I'm going to have it like kind of clump off in chunks, like a glacier calving, right? So let's break it into some chunks. How can I do that? I just take my lasso, I make little chunks, and then I hit Command X. Okay. Actually, let's do it to another duplicate, just so I have the combined one to play with. Okay. So with this duplicate, I'm going to cut it into chunks. And if I want to be really interesting about it visually, I'm not going to make it the freehand lasso. I'm going to make it the polygonal lasso. This is going to look like it's almost like shattered glass. What does this lasso do? It only goes in straight lines. So you kind of click, drag, and press, click, drag, and click. And then you close it up. So this is one. Command X. So that fell away. And then Command V pastes it back in, but on a new layer. So what does Command X do? Because we haven't used that too much. It is what's called the cut function. So it deletes from your selection, but it holds a copy of what you deleted onto the clipboard. So it's like copy and delete at the same time. But unless you then hit Command V to paste it, you'll lose it entirely. But it put it onto a new layer, this chunk right here. Now I'll do another big, go to the layer underneath, another big chunk with my